Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc., the channel all about bringing you as much nerdy content as possible. Today for you, we're in Dragon Village M, and we're looking at the brand new dragon. This is a brand new limited dragon, mind you, so only obtainable out of absolute eggs and mythical eggs, or just being a baller, I guess. But no, we're gonna review this. We're gonna take a look at it. It looks dope, but its skills, they're a little different. They're a little different from what we're used to seeing, right? Let's get into this. As always, if you're new to the channel, please like the video and subscribe. I put out Dragon Village M content every single week for you guys, and all I ask in return is please just like the video and subscribe to the channel. Anything you can do like that helps me tremendously and makes me put out more and more content. I also want to thank my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. You're the reason I'm here every single week making videos. It's because of you that I'm able to do this at all. So thank you guys. As well as I've got shirts. If you want the Battle Ready Inc. logo, I have a black shirt and a white shirt. Check out the description below for links to those as well. They're pretty sweet, as I can totally talk. All right, but enough about me begging for charity here. Let's look at this guy. So I have it on the dark type just because it's a vampire dragon, right? So he's like kind of a little bit of a bat here, but he's also a dragon at the end of the day. They're all dragons, right? So there's that one, and then there's the earth one. The earth one looks cool too. I love the black and green combination, not just in this, but in other games as well. It's always a cool look to it. But I figured for this scenario, it just made sense that we put it on the dark type here. And there's the little version. That's pretty stinking cute also. The junior dragon doesn't really do anything for me. That's also super sweet though. So this guy is an attack type. We only have the two elements, the earth and the dark type. So that's... I wouldn't say it's off brand for limited dragons. There are more that are threes, but there are plenty that are only two elements. So not completely uncommon there. So yeah, attack type, but let's look at these skills. So leadership skill is going to be the same on both of them. Ally attack up by 48% in Colosseum. We've seen stuff like this before. I believe the Water Varus has the same skill. I mean that's a big buff. So I mean, if I had this, I would probably definitely consider running it. You may ask why I wouldn't definitely consider that, but yeah, let's get in here and let's take a look at that. So the drag skills. I want to also, I have read these ahead of time. I don't always, but I did this time for some reason, and the text on these is super weird. It's very oddly worded, okay, on several of these skills. Alright, confines enemy with a bloody sphere and damages them. This attack increases its attack by 80%. I'm assuming when it says it means this dragon here, right? The Lemures? I'm not really sure. The attack it increases its attack by 80%. Same for the earth one here. The second part is when it changes though. When you had the HP absorption effect, which I'll go ahead and tell you now, it's one of its passive is pretty much at 100% of the time. It'll have HP absorption. It creates a 70% chance of putting targets to sleep for 6 seconds. So that's pretty cool. Target count of 4, put 4 people to sleep. My issues with sleep is as soon as you hit them, they wake right back up. So I don't know how I feel about that. Whereas the earth, a better chance of triggering this ability on 4 enemies, and it stuns the target for 8 seconds. So you're getting 2 more seconds and 10% more chance of it happening. And with them being stunned, they can't trigger any, you can't wake them back up by hitting them. So I feel like that's just a flat better option there is the earth type over this on the drag skill. Let's jump over to the very end here, which is the buff for the drag skill, which is the higher its HP, again, assuming it means this dragon and not its target, right? The greater its damage. Inflicts up to 1.5 times the usual damage on a target count of 4. So, I mean, our target count of 4s that are 2 mana cost, I mean, we're looking at jet dragons as a comparison here. And a 1.5 times boost, that's a pretty good margin, which is kind of needed because usually 2 mana cost, 4 target count attacks tend to do on the lower end of damage. So, and it is a circle, so it's easier to get those 4 in a line, whereas the jet dragon, it's a lot harder to get 4 targets in a line with the jet dragon, depending on the formation, okay? I know the formation I personally use, I don't think it's even possible to get it with a jet dragon. You can only get 3, so having the circle, definitely you're going to get more bang for your buck there. And the same is for the earth type for this skill. Alright, so that's a pretty big boost there. That higher its HP, and again, we're going to have that HP absorption effect, right, going, so we're going to be gaining a lot of health back constantly. And so speaking of that, periodically cast HP absorption on itself for 10 seconds and attacks enemies with low HP. So for 10 seconds, right, and its cooldown is every 10 seconds. And you're only going to be increasing the damage you're doing. So it lasts for 10 seconds and the cooldown is 10 seconds. So that's going to be 100% of the time you're going to have this. Only time you're going to lose it is if the enemy team debuffs you and you lose it that way. So, I mean, have other buffs as well. Attack up, critical rate up, critical damage up, I mean, defense up, anything. Just have more buffs so that way it makes it harder to lose that. Because once you lose that buff, it's kind of definitely a bummer on this dragon. He loses out a lot. And I believe that first part, yeah, it's the same. Actually, the second part is the same as well. This attack increases the character's attack by 60%. So again, it's kind of oddly worded. This time, it doesn't say its attack by 60%. It says the character's attack by 60%. Again, if giving it a 60% buff, I'm assuming it's for this dragon, right? That's a big buff. If you're going to give that to the enemy team, no one would ever want to run this, especially as a limited dragon. And inflicts 2.5 times the usual damage if it's, again, who knows, assuming it's the Lemures here, its HP is 70% or more. Going back to the first skill here, right, it was the first skill. Was it? The higher its HP. Where did I see that? Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. Maybe this was just it. Alright. But yeah, so inflict 2.5 times the usual damage if its HP is 70% or more. Was it over here? Yeah, the higher its HP, the greater its damage. So, I mean, I'm assuming its HP, the higher its HP is, and with the health regening effect with the HP absorption, I'm just assuming that that's what we're getting at here, is with its health going back up constantly, it does more damage. And when its health goes down, we do less damage. Alright, so next passive here, pretty simple. Blanket, your critical damage is increased by 20%, wherein the other one is the attack is increased by 20%. Both are great. This is just a DPS dragon, so you're going to build probably just all critical damage with maybe like a critical rate rune on the 4th slot percentage there, and that's really it. And you're going to have attack, crit damage, attack for the 3rd, 6th, and 3rd, 4th, no, 2nd, 4th, and 6th. I don't know where I'm getting 3rd from. So yeah, super simple dragon. For the stats, basically you just want to keep this guy's HP up as high as possible, and as long as its HP is good and above 70%, it's going to be throwing out lots of damage across the board, as well as it just keeps itself alive, which I love. My Varus, I'm a big Varus fan, right? He's got that passive where the ball goes back and forth, and man, when that thing hits, it heals my dragons for like half their health. I look at my end stats for Clan Dungeon or for PvP, he typically outdoes my healer because he just heals so much on his own, whereas my healers are waiting for that prime opportunity to trigger their drag skill to heal. His is just constant, that skill going off no matter what. Even if people, aren't really that low, he's going to go off and get that heal going. So I think dragons that heal like this are actually very underrated. You don't hear about them a whole lot. So I think with the HP absorption at 100% of the time, constantly, as a person that uses Light Venezi, who gives out that effect a lot, it's really good. If you can trigger that right before you go into like a huge drag skill attack, oh man, you just pretty much heal your character all the way back up to full health with that HP absorption. So I think having it passively is pretty awesome. You could maybe consider running runes for HP absorption, but I don't think it's necessary. I think he's going to do it himself enough that it's worth skipping those. So that's going to pretty much do it. He's pretty straightforward. We don't really have to theory craft with this guy a whole lot. What he says is what he does, I think. The flavor text there, not the flavor text, but the text on his skills is a little wonky. So hopefully that's how he works. Because if that's the case, he's definitely not a bad dragon. I would not feel too bad if I pulled him. Again, I think the earth is a little bit better. I think the dark looks cooler, though. That's just me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like the video. It doesn't take much. Just click that button. And if you really enjoy what I do, consider subscribing. I do videos like this every single week for you guys. So please subscribe. That's all I ask in return. All right, guys. But with that, I'll see you next time.